Am I the asshole for not giving someone else a free bag of food I had just been gifted?
Me and my boyfriend were sat on a bench in our university campus. A couple of bakery workers came up to us and explained they were closing and did we want some of the leftover food for free. If you're in the UK and familiar with the "too good to go" scheme, then I believe it was a part of that and the bag just hadn't been claimed. More context below. Of course, being given free food in this economy felt like we had hit the jackpot, and in the bag was around 3 pastry items and 3/4 sandwiches. We remained sat for 5/10 more minutes before setting back off to our accommodation. A few minutes later, a guy sees us walking across campus carrying our bag of food and runs after us asking if we work at the bakery. I guess since the bag was clearly labeled with the bakery name. I replied that no, we were just students and the bakery had unfortunately just closed 10 minutes previously. He became standoffish and insinuated that we had taken one of his bags that he reserved. I replied that I was sorry we couldn't help him, but again, we were just students and had nothing to do with the bakery, we had just been given it from a worker. Stupidly, I hadn't actually really processed at this time that we likely had indeed been given one of the bags he reserved since he was too late to pick them up. He proceeded to storm off shouting back at us that we bad people for not giving it him, because he was going to feed the homeless with that food. After hearing this, my boyfriend asked me if we should just go after him and give him our bag, and I replied no. In the moment I felt pretty hurt at his aggressive nature towards us. It's been about an hour now and I've been plagued by guilt surrounding it. I would never want to take away from a charitable cause and I've been really beating myself up over it. I was just hurt in the moment.
Am I the asshole? I'm curious to hear what others may have done in the same situation. Context. Too Good to Go is a scheme where members of the public can reserve bags of food from various stores online to stop the food going to waste. They will pick the items up in the last hour or so of the store closing. Not the asshole. The food was the bakery's to give and they gave it to you. Even if this guy had reserved it, he failed to get there in time, so forfeited it. You have no way to verify his story and have a genuine need for it yourself. Enjoy it guilt-free. You were given the bag of food, with no strings attached. It may or may not have belonged to the guy who interacted with you. You weren't affiliated with the bakery, so it really wasn't your problem to solve. The guy may find he does a little better in life if he's less reactive and unpleasant, but perhaps I digress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, you really had no way to verify this was his. Not the asshole. He was too late. The store closed and would have had to throw away the food, which is exactly what the "too good to go" scheme is meant to prevent. It is not meant for people who don't bother to show up before closing and then harangue innocent people on the street. Never enable or encourage people like that. Next time, he'll show up earlier and get the food for himself, likely, and possibly others. No worries. You did well. If he was really that keen on feeding the homeless, then he would have prioritized picking up the bags of food. The bakery gave those bags to you, and they're yours now. I'm willing to bet that he wasn't ever going to give that food away to anybody. He just wanted you to feel bad, which you shouldn't. Easier said than done, but please stop beating yourself up about it. You did nothing wrong, and you didn't do anything wrong by not going after him. He was rude and entitled. Not the asshole. I've done TGTG and it's on your phone. He could have shown you what he ordered. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to go on a boys' trip while I'm at home with our newborn? TLDR. My husband, who's really great in general, wants to go on a boys' trip with his brother while we have a newborn at home and I'm going back to work. So, my husband, 34 male, and I, 28 female, just had a baby boy. He's amazing, precious, and very gassy at times. I had a C-section, not by choice, and am still recovering. Baby boy is about 2 weeks old. My husband is great. He shares all the responsibilities with me, supports me postpartum, and really makes sure baby boy and I are happy and healthy. The thing is, my husband hasn't worked for a while now and I'm the sole provider at the moment. His dad passed away about 2 months ago and he had to leave me when I was 9 months pregnant. His family lives in a different country, for 3 weeks because none of his siblings wanted to manage everything around his dad's passing away. He stopped working when he left and hasn't gotten back to it since. We have talked about it and he will get back to work in the near future, a month or so. I worked until the day I gave birth. I own a small business and need to get back to partial work in a few days. I will have to get back to full-time in about 3 weeks.
Now, my husband has a brother that isn't the best family guy.
He provides very little for his family, has 5 kids he often leaves his wife alone with, only helps to babysit sometimes, and in general isn't really there unless it has to do with keeping the kids alive at max. My husband's brother won some football tickets about 6 months ago and invited my husband and his dad to go with. My husband had to pay for his submission to that contest though. Now that my father-in-law passed away, my husband's brother wants them both to go to that football game abroad and stay for 4 days. My husband doesn't just want to go, he made it a fact, and says his brother said this would be a trip in memory of their father. IDK How'll do 4 days with baby boy alone at home. He will be a 5 weeks old and I will be freshly back to work. My mom will be able to help, but I can't just leave the kid with her at this stage. I told my husband there's no way he's leaving, and now he is mad at me and says he will be going anyway, and I'm an asshole for not understanding him. I will say, before their father died, I still did the same thing. I'll have a newborn at home and won't want him to leave. This has been known for over 6 months now. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole.
Disregarding, like, everything about him being not working and you overworking. Who cares about what he wants, what his brother wants, or anything like that?
He has a newborn at home. He's not just gonna up and vanish like that. He chose to have a kid, now he has to take care of it.
His boy time vanished for a good long while the moment he agreed to have a kid with you.
He knows what it takes to care for a newborn.
I hope so, at least. So no way a good dad would just up and leave you alone like that.
Not the asshole. Also, might I add that your husband sounds like an excuse of a human being who leaves their barely 1-month-old baby to go on a boy's trip. Not the asshole. Your husband and brother-in-law are holding this up as in memory of their father. In other words, family ties are strong and should be respected. Yet, he is not thinking that he has his own new family now. He needs to respect that as well.
Further, he needs to respect his wife, who is not only the person who carried and nurtured his son, but had a difficult birth to boot. His wife is also the sole breadwinner at this time. He's already honored his father by taking time off when you were heavily pregnant.
He's been on vacation and he needs to step up and start thinking about his contribution to his own family. He needs to decide if his loyalty is to his brother or to his wife and newborn son. What is it with these immature, selfish idiots? Don't they give a damn about their wife, her health, and the well-being of their newborn? Do they think they can frolic around without a care in the world as they did in their teenage years? And leave all the responsibilities and care because they have secured a live-in incubator, nanny, cook, housemaid and financial provider? I'm 61 years old and I can assure you that things are not going to get better in the future. The path forward is being a single married and working mom. Men like this only add an extra burden to the workload. Better to be a truly single mom without the extra work, aggravation and heartache. Ask him if he'd be okay with you booking a trip of same length with your mom or whoever for the week after and leaving him alone with baby for that long. Does he think he'd manage? Also, your sole provider. I'd be telling him I wouldn't be contributing a single cent to that trip. He can pay for the 4 days with the money from his non-existent job. Not the asshole. It's unreasonable to leave you alone with a newborn and work while he goes traveling. I get why he wants to go, but you have to work since he's not working, and it's not okay to leave you with work and a tiny baby when you've said no. Am I the asshole for enlisting in the military instead of thinking of my girlfriend? I moved from South Korea when I was 12, now 18. So I still have citizenship and I have to go back to Korea to do my mandatory military service eventually. In simple ways of saying it, in South Korea you can do your military service from when you are 18 to 28-29. Some people choose to enlist later and some people do it earlier. You serve for 2 years, then you can do whatever. I decided that I wanted to get it over with and do it before I went to college, so, very soon. So that I don't have to worry about it after that. When I told my girlfriend, Korean as well but American, she got angry and told me to consider other people before I did. We got into a fight and she called me an asshole for abandoning her and choosing to leave her just when we were about to start college. She wants me deferred to at least until we finish college. Maybe I am in the wrong because I did think that she would just support me in my decision. But I honestly think that since this is my life I should be allowed to make my own decisions. Am I the asshole? More info. I did talk to her after it before, but I don't think either of us put a lot of thought into the conversation. I admit I should have talked to her after it though. We've been dating for 6 months.
You should never do something at 18 because a girl wants you to.
I'm surprised not more people are saying you should have had a conversation with her at some point before making your decision. Not the asshole for choosing to enlist.
But if you're in a relationship, you at least owe that person a discussion beforehand to explain where you're coming from.
Nah.
You showed her she really isn't a priority in your life by not talking to her or considering how this affects her. It hurts to find out someone you care about doesn't really think of you when planning their future.
Neither of you is wrong for your feelings. You just have different feelings about one another.
Not the asshole. It makes sense to do it now. It may be disruptive to your career, especially if you are able to set up and work for a company straight out of college.
Nah, not the asshole. Wise to get it over with. It'll give you a chance to meet lots of new people before deciding to settle into anything long-term with your GF. If it was meant to be between you two, you'll make it work long distance. If not, that's okay too. Not the asshole. You have to enlist and she's going to be upset about it no matter when you do, honestly. Get it done before college so you don't have to worry about it later. Am I the asshole for not cooking after my fiancé defrosted the wrong type of chicken? Am I the asshole? Edit. BCUZ. I forgot to add this part and a lot of you are tripping out about asking him to help with anything when he gets home from work. The job my fiancé has is very easy. His words, not mine. He openly brags about how easy his job is to all his friends and how all he does is drive and give clean uniforms and hand towels. He does not do physical labor. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3. My fiancé works Monday through Friday, his regular job where he has to go to different restaurants, establishments to drop off things. He's given free food from said places every day. He's always telling me what he was given for free, so I know it's literally at least 4 out of 5 days he goes to this job. I barely get to eat during the day. BCUZ. The kids never let me get a minute to myself. As soon as I go to even think about eating, one of my kids start crying or needing me. Today I asked him to get a specific type of chicken out of the deep freezer and put it to defrost so I can cook dinner. After about an hour or so of the chicken defrosting, I go to the kitchen to see if it's ready to be seasoned and cooked, and it's the wrong type of chicken. After I specifically told him which ones to get out. My whole mood is thrown off. I don't even want to cook anymore and he wants to know why I have an attitude. I just feel like he does certain things on purpose. Weaponized incompetence? Like, why can't he do anything the right way the first time I ask? Why do I feel like I can't even ask him to do a simple favor like taking specific meat out the freezer without having to hover over him to make sure he's doing what I actually asked and not what he thought he heard? Face with rolling eyes. Am I the asshole for snapping at him when he tried to act like it was no big deal? To me it is a big deal. BCUZ. It's every single time I ask him to help me do anything I feel like he purposely does the task wrong. Woman facepalming, light skin tone. The point of me bringing up that he gets free food all day is BCUZ. I don't think he understands how hungry I actually am when he gets home and I actually get a chance to eat. BCUZ. He gets to eat all day at work without kids interrupting his meals. So when I want something specific, I want that and that only. So am I the asshole? For those who will say I could have gotten it out myself, yes, you're right, I should have gotten it out myself earlier in the day, but it slipped my mind dealing with the kids and I was busy with the kids when I asked him to get the chicken from the freezer. Update. I cooked dinner. And took people's advice on how to speak to him about it. Even though I have done this before, I did it again and used every type of open communication as I could and thought we were moving in a new direction. Our 2-year-old nonverbal autistic son is sick right now, another reason I am overwhelmed. And has had a high fever all day. I've been trying to combat with Tylenol and keeping him hydrated and comfy. I try again to see if I can ask him to do one thing and see if it'll be done correctly. I asked him to get our son's sippy cup and fill it with some Pedialyte while I check him temperature again to see if it's went down any. As I'm putting our son back in bed with his sippy cup, only the top is see-through, I see milk and I ask him, "Hey babe, what's in here?" And he says, "Ensure like you told me to put." So all of y'all calling me the asshole, absolutely not. This is purposeful. I am going against everyone, not the asshole. BCU stated this happens every single time, so I understand finally snapping. Although yes, You should have time for yourself to eat, and ignore your kids.
But then again, no one should tell you how to parent. Edit to add. She has commented she has a 2-year nonverbal sick autistic child, another child, and a 5-month-old.
And she just asked for Pedalite for the sick child and he brought her Ensure. You are the asshole for not taking care of yourself during the day and blaming that on your partner. Let your kids whine while you eat. They will be fine. Let them learn to be patient unless they need an emergency room or have another pressing need. Needing more water or juice, they can wait.
A diaper change?
Can wait for 5 minutes while you eat something.
As far as this goes, you have to learn to roll with it.
You are disappointed about the defrosted chicken. Okay. Move on. Or order takeout. Info. Is there a pattern of this kind of behavior? A lot of folks here are focusing on the individual event in a vacuum, but the context and frequency matters a lot.
Those of us who have lived with weaponized incompetence know that it's never just about the chicken. There's a long trail of behaviors with a common thread of selfishness or carelessness woven through them. Weaponized incompetence is often able to continue because we are expected to focus on the individual event as if it's in a vacuum and not a long-standing pattern that slowly drills into you and wears you down like water into a rock.
This is literally not even about her not eating. All of the commenters are assholes.
Your husband is an asshole that he can't do simple tasks that you ask him. Yes, it's weaponized incompetence, and yes, you need to nip that shit now. The next time he asks you for something, do it wrong and then say I did what you asked.
Not the asshole. Let your kids whine for a bit. As long as they are safe, it's fine. You need to eat and deserve a break. Please don't be a martyr. Plus, by not teaching them that sometimes they need to wait, you'll end up with more problems down the road. Is everyone missing the fact that Op is asking for the bare minimum and the fiancé is still fucking up? It's like he doesn't care now to help at all. Just because one person can have 6 kids and be fine with no help doesn't mean the person with 1 kid can't struggle. Kids are all different. Plus Everyoke is calling Op an ass for not eating all day. But she said she barely eats anything, so she is eating. Just not as much as she should. And that's not even the question she's asking about. Y'all so ready to attack a stay-at-home mom who's struggling, and defend her fiancé who seems to be doing jack shit for the kids. We need more info with more examples if this is actually weaponized incompetence or if Op just blew up over something that barely happens.